what be pissing me off because
Mhm.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is my
No, I'm
mother
just
taught
asking the
me to
question.
have substance. My mother taught me to stand on my own 2 feet in case. She supported the idea that I wanted to be a wife. She supported the idea that I wanted to have a man. My mother was not raising me to tell me that men don't matter. What she was raising me to do is to stand on my own in the case that a man does not come, because it is a crapshoot that you're going to grow up and be married.
These women who grew up this way, the teaching should have been, hey, this is how you uh, portray yourself as a lady. This is what you do for a man. This is what you look for in a man. Hey, I have my brother, your uncle. I have your brother, my son, your father, to actually vet these men and to tell you which ones are serious about you, to tell you which ones are financially responsible, to tell you which ones who love you and appreciate you and respect you are not going to beat you and hit on you, to give you the game essentially that your heart and that your emotions would blind you to seeing. All right, what's going on, people? This is your host, Say One's History, and you're watching The Male's Perspective. Now, we're going to be reviewing a video from the Lepif Network, and I wanted to review this particular video because I think it actually speaks to more of how men and women are different, how we're more logical and women are more emotional, and then how we think more concise, and they think, well, maybe what if, this could be, it's a possibility, that type of thing. And I think this video speaks directly to that and how that can be a trap for feminism and how we've come to the place we are today in modern society. With that being said, let's get into it.
And being that agreeable, soft, serving wife, all of the things, right?
Yeah.
I had to become the person that you see right now because I know that even if you have a man, they're not always reliable, because men
Mhm.
are not raised to be husbands. Men are not raised to be leaders. They're raised to be men
But would it
that
matter?
don't lead
Would it
that,
matter?
but
Would it matter if men were
it
raised to be
would
husband? If
matter. Absolutely.
hold on,
Because
hold on, let me just finish that real quick. And I'm just interrupting this quick. Would it even matter if men were raised to be husbands? If in fact the bohems of society was raised to look at men as second fiddle as far as survival
that
and
is
choose,
not, I
would it even?
really, and the thing is, this is what be pissing me off because
Mhm.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is my
No, I'm
mother
just
taught
asking the
me to
question.
have substance. My mother taught me to stand on my own 2 feet in case. She supported the idea that I wanted to be a wife. She supported the idea that I wanted to have a man. My mother was not raising me to tell me that men don't matter. What she was raising me to do is to stand on my own in the case that a man does not come, because it is a crapshoot that you're going to grow up and be married, especially in the.
Okay, I got to stop it right there, you guys, because this lady, Bohemian, I think they call her Bohemian Nori. I think she goes by Bo for short. So I just want to say this. I understand where she's coming from. I know a lot of my female cousins who were actually raised this way, to actually be taught that in case a man does not come into play, or in case a man is playing games, or he doesn't know what he wants to do, or he doesn't have a plan, or whatever the case may be, for a woman to be self sufficient and to be able to take care of herself. I totally get that. And a lot of women were actually raised that way. in the early 90s, even a little bit of the 2000s, definitely the 80s for sure. But here's the problem with that: it's a scarcity mindset. And the reason why it's a scarcity mindset is because you're coming from a place of where you don't believe that you're going to get that. And if you don't believe you're going to get that mentally, you're not going to get that. Now, is there a place for this type of mindset? Should there be a place where it should be taught? Absolutely. But I think the main subject for these kids and these women who grew up this way, the teaching should have been, hey, this is how you uh, portray yourself as a lady. This is what you do for a man. This is what you look for in a man. Hey, I have my brother, your uncle. I have your brother, my son, your father, to actually vet these men and to tell you which ones are serious about you, to tell you which ones are financially responsible, to tell you which ones who love you and appreciate you and respect you are not going to beat you and hit on you, to give you the game essentially that your heart and that your emotions would blind you to seeing. Because a lot of things women can't see because their emotions are in the way. And not to say that that's a bad thing, because it's not. Women's emotions are beautiful things. That's actually one of the things that make men love women so much. But when you have a woman and she is interested in a man, it is a woman is not the best person, I should say, to be vetting a man that she is interested in, because all her emotions are coming into play. She's the butterflies are there, everything is there. A man should be vetting a woman's potential significant other so he can look at all the details. He can look at essentially the from a logical perspective, if this man is going to be good for his daughter. Okay? So, and this is definitely feminism, because feminism came into play and it let women believe that this is the way to go. And, we've gone so far down the rabbit hole now, I don't know what we're going to do. A lot of people are saying for women who are in this age range from like 35 all the way up to 45 or something like that, they're really just going to get left behind. And I feel sorry for these women. They need, femininity coaches, I think, therapy for sure, something that is going to help them, move on in life. Because I don't want to see women like this, in these situations where they're going to be 60 years old living by themselves. But let's let them keep going, though.
Society that I grew up in the times that I grew up in. It was not my fault. You all are looking at me as if, oh, your mama raised you to be an independent woman. No, she raised me to do the things that I needed to do in the case that a man did not come along, because she was not going to have me out here just picking any kind of man. Mm-hmm. She wanted me to have my choice. She wanted me to pick something healthy. She mm-hmm. wanted me to be healthy and be self-sufficient so that I wouldn't be a burden on a man, and so I wouldn't be dependent on a man, because that is a very vulnerable position to be in, and you mm-hmm. are vulnerable.
And let me just say this. There's nothing wrong with teaching a child how to actually be a helper to a man, okay? Because she did say helper, but it sounds more like what her mother or her grandmother was teaching her is how to be self-sufficient from a man. And I think she can't differentiate between the two. There's a big difference from being a helper to a man to being self-sufficient from a man. And when you are self-sufficient from a man, you actually have other traits that are not necessarily beneficial to the relationship, that are not necessarily beneficial to a marriage. And these things come into play, and they start to you start to grow these different traits as far as a woman is concerned, that men typically don't like. And some of those come with the jobs that you guys choose to have, the schedules that you choose to have, the ability to be able to do stuff on your own. These are all traits of a man. These are all things that men have to do, men have to learn. Why would women want to be men when you actually have it on easy mode? I don't understand it. But let's keep going.
To be abused, and because my mother was
Damn, what about
abused,
love? Why is it got to jump
because
to
my
abuse?
mother was abused, because my grandmothers were abused by men who solely took
So that's
care of
trauma
them,
speaking.
That is
she
trauma.
didn't want that for me. She wanted
Mhm.
me to have my pick of a man that could treat me right, and she wanted me to be a woman of substance. That does not mean, she never taught me you don't need no man. No man, and you'll never hear me say I don't need a man. And
No,
you'll never hear me say that I can do this without him. I know that I cannot, but I
mhm.
have to. This is what I'm
Question,
saying. I
Bo. I
need
have a
She
question
one,
for
needs
you.
a
but I
paradigm
have to do
shift.
it without, because they're just not here.
Yeah. So
Interrupt. That ain't no.
question for you, real quick. So, when you say I have to, I'm trying to choose the right man, right? She's trying to choose the right man.
Damn,
I'm
what?
trying to make the right decision, and I'm like, cool. My view is that when we've been doing this for so long, and we're kind of,
I don't know
but
what.
sorry, Bo. What I was kind of alluding to was when you're making statements, and this is how normalized it is. How we don't even realize some of the ways in which we're describing this stuff, how it can be a part of certain systems. Like sometimes we'll espouse things and it actually sounds kind of Marxist in nature. Sometimes it sounds kind of socialist in nature. It's the same thing when it comes to feminism. If the patriarchy was one in which you wouldn't have been making all of these moves and decisions on your own by default when it came to these men anyway. So, in order for you to arbitrarily go from man to man to man to date and figure out sexually, emotionally, psychologically, marriage, that is that sexual liberation. That is feminist.
Mm.
So, for even for you to, you're so far down in the weeds that
Exactly.
it's almost like it. It's like somebody who was born only seeing black and white and trying to describe to them what color looks like.
And that's exactly the point that I was trying to make. Like, these women are so far down the rabbit hole. What do you do for them? I mean, is it just a lost cause and there's nothing that you can do for them? And essentially, they have to kind of die off. And then hopefully, you just take care of the newer generation of women that are coming up and teach them a completely different way. I think it's sad if we do have to actually go down that route. I really do, because these women, they want love, they want affection, they want to be cared for, they want to be loved, but they were just taught the wrong way. And it was coming from a society of women in the early 90s, in the 80s, and even the 70s that dealt with men that were, like beating on them, or that were, you know, maybe not taking care of the household like they were supposed to. And there were plenty of different reasons that were actually going on in society that would actually cause these men to act like this. And then let's just be real. Some of them were just pieces of you know what. So, it's a cause and effect situation for these women. The mothers actually had children, had daughters, and they said, what can I do to prevent my daughter from having to deal with the things that I went through? And this is what they taught them. But they should have actually been teaching these lessons that they got, along with teaching them how to be in marriages and relationships with men. But let's keep going.
You're describing about the after effects of what's not working and what you've tried and why your mom had to teach you certain things. What I'm suggesting is it's not the issue about the job. It's not the every decision that you made was a product of the sexual liberation movement. You got to pick your spouse. You got to pick who you could have sex with.
Mm.
You could decide if you wanted to get divorced. What I'm saying is a patriarchal. I'm not even saying patriarchy is fine. What I'm saying is the opposite of what you did.
And I know you guys hate when I stop and start this, but I just want to say this and then I'm going to continue. What he is basically saying is you are allowed to make choices, and you may think those choices are yours as far as the women are concerned. But the choices that the women are making are confined within this small little box, this box called feminism. And those choices that you are making are allowing you to think that you're choosing for yourself, but in reality, you're only given a certain amount of choices that you actually have available within this femininity box, or within this feminist box, I should say. And, you know, we, the government, the feminists, they all know you're going to come out one or two ways, you know, and it's what they design. So it is what it is.
It would have been a father figure, an uncle, a father, a grandfather. They would have been the buffer from you making some of the decisions that you made, that you felt that you made out of emotion, out of feelings, and it
Exactly.
just didn't work out.
No, they
So,
taught me the same thing.
so as an
That's
example,
even worse.
unless you think how old are you? Well,
I'm 44.
okay. Unless you think that your mate selection option choices is incredible from when you started dating till 44, there was supposed to be a buffering factor so that you're not 44 years old still having this conversation.
Amen.
The issue is not that you're stupid. The issue is not that you're immature. The issue is all these ancient civilizations that did it a different way. We in the modern world think we're smarter than them.
And we're not.
Maybe there was there was something there that they had in place to prevent this thing from happening. And I'll give you an example. Um, when I talk to women about this whole things not working out, in and out of relationships, lengthy periods where they're just not having success. And when I'm finding out what's the reason for why you're leaving, this guy doesn't communicate, this guy cheated, this guy this guy that. And I ask them a simple question. If you had to choose between one man that you gave 20 chances to or 20 men that you give one chance to, which would you choose?
Ooh,
Your lifestyle.
ooh, that is
And I'm not
ooh.
saying you, I'm saying women's lifestyles that are single that are off and on and not successful long term for 10, 15, 20 years is that they're choosing the option B. They keep giving these chances to men that were supposed to be vetted by somebody else other than your emotions.
Ooh.
That is
Ooh,
feminism. You were
that's
not
tough.
designed to go through 20
Ooh,
men, through
ooh.
22 decades of trying to figure it out on your own. And now you have to do survivability politics.
Whoa.
The job is the job. That's dope. I'm proud of you. You're established. You're independent. You got a lot of dope things going on. The process of what you were doing between dating, sex, marriage, situationships, all that trauma and disappointment, somebody was supposed to stop that shit. And you were
Ooh,
never designed to do this. So when I say the level of depth of how much
Jesus.
we've been saturated with this shit is why our community is what it is now. So when the black man is telling you, and I'm not saying like you got to listen to me. What I'm saying is a black brother is trying to tell you there is a ideology that influenced and put us in the position that they convinced a generation of women that sexual liberation was a benefit to them and not men. Okay? Men who got the options love y'all sexual liberation. More power to you. Love
Mhm.
it. And hold on. And I ain't got to meet your father.
What?
And some of y'all gonna give me kids and I ain't
What?
even got to meet your family.
What?
I ain't even got to
Oh,
know
I
your
love
birthday.
this
Let's
feminism. Give me
get
more of
it.
that.
Let's get it.
Well, what
I wasn't
Feminism
about
have
interested at all. I
so what
was
I'm saying
interested.
is a lot of the decisions that you think were just yours was really about the environment and time period that you were born into, that some of this stuff is normalized. OnlyFans ain't normalized. Having double digit men over a 20-year time period ain't normalized.
The greatest lie the devil ever told was making you believe that he never existed. And that holds so true for this situation today. But that's all we got for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please, you guys, make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you are updated for all cool new content. I appreciate you guys watching the video all the way through, and we will holler at you later. Take care. Peace! You've made it to the end of this video, which basically means that we're best friends now. And best friends subscribe to best friends channels. And they like their videos too. So, I mean, I don't make the rules. It is what it is. You got to take that up under the Best Friend Act, code -7223-002. Write a subscription and subscribe.